New year, new me. Second time back. Oh, actually, I was saying that in the last episode, that we would upload each time this year. Then I mentioned something. No, I'm just talking right now. New year, new me. We had 2 episodes before the new year, new me that came out this week.
This year, yeah.
But yeah. So this is the first time we're recording this year, which is cool. This is the second episode we've recorded this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I left you guys on a cliffhanger last time, and I said that you know what? I'm gonna switch it up so it looks like it's 2 different times. Okay, guys.
Wardrobe change.
Okay. Because you couldn't see the red shirt.
Yeah,
or anything.
No.
And
And now we get a food story.
Yeah. So I told you guys I'd have an eating story.
Okay.
So yeah, I might have said this on the podcast. I might have not, but I got reminded of it today. I'm struggling. There we go. We put that right there. So, I run cross country, right? And I love eating. The main reason I do sports is because I love eating. Hobby of mine. Number 1 hobby.
Hold on.
I'd say.
How are those related?
Sports and eating?
Yeah.
Burn calories. Can eat more. So yeah. I love eating. And we ran a race. Where were we? It was Globe. We ran a race up in Globe. Actually, it was Miami, Arizona. But that's basically Globe, if you know where that is. And then we stopped at a fast food place. We stopped at this, I hate this place. How did I forget the name? It always reminds me of Wonder Woman's logo. Whataburger. We stopped at a Whataburger.
I don't like it.
Nah. But right next door, they have a Circle K. No, we weren't in Miami. We were somewhere. We were somewhere up.
Whataburger is like one of those things that you either really like or you really don't.
Yeah,
and no one's really in the middle.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say like, yeah, it's okay.
I'm a don't personally.
Yeah,
so I went to Circle K, obviously, and I discovered something in 2023. Something new in 2023. Yeah, I prefer QT.
It.
I hate Circle K too. There's no QT. So I discovered this beautiful thing, Gatorade's Rapid Rehydration. Those things are so wonderful. And if you're sick, drink one of those. You feel great for the next 45 to 90 minutes. And they used to have a really
high
good deal.
on Gatorade.
Dude, it was like 5 for $3 or something. And that was so great. It saved me. As you can tell, I didn't drink one recently. Haven't drank one in a while. But yeah, so I went to Circle K and I got one of those. I got a gallon of ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Have I told this on the podcast?
No.
No, good.
But...
Okay, I got a gallon of ice cream, and then I had 2 donuts, and my friend bought some donut holes. So we go to the tables outside Whataburger, and we're eating, and my friends are like, we get a spoon from Whataburger, and so I can eat my ice cream. And my friends are even like, you can't do this. You can't do that, Josh. Guess what? Josh did it. I ate the ice cream in 10 minutes, and a little less than 10 minutes. And I broke 2 spoons getting it out. And that was all the spoons they had, so I had to resort to forks. I was eating my ice cream with forks, and at the end I drank them.
That's a Josh thing, yeah.
Yeah, and my friend was like, I can't eat these donut holes. I can't eat these donut holes. So I ate the last, 4 of his donut holes. And then I have my 2 donuts, and I shove those in my mouth and eat them. And man, did I have a sugar high. I was in pants. I can pull up a video of how much I was yelling.
Wait. What does that have to do with pants?
Because I sprinted. I've never ran that fast in my life. And my friends were, and this was after a race, my friends were trying to catch me and they couldn't because I was just, when you have so much sugar, here it is. That's me.
Sugar makes you satanic?
Oh, I had 2 of the Gatorades.
So sugar makes you satanic?
Look, that's what I had.
Or no?
No, it doesn't make you satanic. It's just it intensifies life. So I had,
intensifies
how much carbs did I figure out it was like 15,000 carbs, and most of it was sugar. So I sprinted, and dude, and then on the bus I was shaking.
Okay, hold on. Move. What do your coach or teacher think about this?
She doesn't care about us.
You're sprinting around the parking lot screaming.
She didn't see that.
She doesn't care.
She was inside. She was eating her Whataburger.
Then who was watching you?
Me, my friends, and other teammates. My friends were the ones who were with me when I was eating that.
I don't think like you need adult supervision. I just think if you're gonna be a public school and
You
drag
should.
high schoolers halfway across the state, like maybe you should keep an eye on them.
One of the most beautiful times I had in Globe, though, because she didn't keep an eye on us, we can have these great experiences.
Like,
This was in Miami. Oh, actually, I guess we were up there twice. And we stopped at a Hungry Howie's, and I bought myself a hungry. I didn't eat for like
Pizza,
12 hours.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't eat for like 12 hours, so I was starving, and I bought myself a full pizza, and my friend bought himself a full pizza, and we just sat on the curb eating.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so beautiful as we were staring at the mountains of Miami. How much I wish I could go back. And then I remembered how.
So
Which
if
I
your
don't wanna
teacher
go
was
back.
watching you, you couldn't have eaten pizza.
No, we would have all ate together, so
Oh.
I would have been able to eat the pizza.
It was really cool. The first time, like, I was with a group of guys and we just ate a lot, was with our youth pastor Joseph and Cade, who's been on the podcast, and we did spring cleaning of our youth center at our church. And afterwards, Joseph went and bought 2 Little Caesars pizzas, and we downed them. The 3 of us. That's 8 slices, so 16 slices total. So I think it was split up like 5, 5, 6. I think Kate had 6, and then
Kate's
me
a
and
big
Joseph
boy.
had 5. But it was crazy, man, because it was nice after doing all that work, which is different than what I normally do outside in the heat, and actually being tired and then just being able to eat and eat, and there's just more. So, yeah, it was cool.
I'm a fan of. I'm pretty sure they changed their sauce recently. I don't know.
Little Caesars?
Yeah, it's feeling a little different, and I like it. It's more expensive. I don't like that, but that's inflation. That's not really their fault. It's everyone's fault. It's their fault equally, I guess. It's
I
my
don't
fault, too.
understand the people that say like it's hyperinflation. We're at 5%.
I think it is hyperinflation, but it's not as bad as I
But
thought
it's
it would
not
be.
hyper. It's inflation.
Well, it's
It's
pretty
not
bad
hyperinflation.
It is bad inflation, though.
Okay, but then you take your 5% and then you compare it to Venezuela, which is an actual communist country, and their inflation's at 1,588%.
It's been there for years.
So I happen to think that we are not in hyperinflation.
We are.
But the inflation is bad, and we should get rid of it.
We are in bad inflation, and
Yeah.
but so the real big issue. Time to get political.
Yeah.
Our debt. People say we gained $1 trillion in 3 months.
Trump.
That sucks. Oh hey, we gained $1 trillion in 3 months, which sucks. But that's fixable. What isn't fixable is once we hit the point where our interest goes higher than the amount we make. Because then there's nothing you can do. And we're almost there, but we're not quite there.
Well, we just got to lower taxes. That's what Reagan found out with
yeah.
Reaganomics in the 80s.
If we lower taxes and we cut a lot of the stupid spending.
Yeah. Because say you're taxing 10% on $50 and you're taking $5. But then that is like, well, the interest rate's high. Young people can't buy a house, which means the realtor's not making money, which means the owner's not selling their house, and blah, blah, blah. But then say you loosen up the taxes to 5%. Well, now more houses are getting sold, more people have money to start businesses. You're not taxing the businesses as much. So now you're only charging 5% tax, but now the people are making $100, and you still get your $5.
Maybe the issue is if Hoovervilles come back. That won't be fun. But we'll make it out again. I'm going for the housing market crashes before everything else, assuming everything does.
But here's what I
hoping it
honestly think is
crashes
going to
in the
happen.
Right time when I have money.
If it crashes, like, everyone's going to have to squeeze into, like, 2 kids in each bedroom, and you're in a 3-bed, 2-bath, and they're like, oh, this is horrible. And it's like, yeah. Also, you have running water and
Oh, well, it's
AC
still
and-
America.
Yeah.
We have food and water and all this.
But these
wonderful
issues
stuff.
need to be fixed because you're either going up or you're going down. Like, you don't stay in the same spot.
That is a great segment into spiritualness. As a Christian, guys,
Spiritualness?
we can see. I think the proverb for the day today is the 8th. Might have been yesterday. No, yesterday's about
No,
adultery.
Wait.
There's somewhere in here where it
Yeah, it's the
mentions. It might have been the 6th. Either the 6th or the 8th proverb talks about your spiritual health. I'm not entirely sure where. Let me put a bookmark here. No, I'll forget where I am. We'll put.
You can look and I can just talk randomly.
Hold on. No, so one of the proverbs talks about spiritual growth and that you have to be growing, otherwise you're shrinking. And we can see that in
Yeah.
our own lives. I'm sure you've all experienced that. If you're a Christian, you can see that you're either growing or shrinking.
Remember when I was giving a sermon and I wanted to use the example of the tree, and then I was like, well, sometimes a tree's dying, and I would know that because I'm a landscaper. You remember when I said that?
No.
But yeah, the tree example's good. Trees are growing and they're nice green, and then if they stop growing, they kind of turn yellow and then they die. So, there's not really a stagnant tree. And a tree could be stagnant in the same place for 3-4 years and then it dies. But it's going to die if it's not growing.
I love
So.
reading the Bible, man. It's just like, go to the ant, you sluggard. I don't think I'm going to find it, but yeah, no, there's verses, and you can look it up on Google and you'll find them, that say that you have to be spiritually growing, otherwise you'll be, there's no such real, there's no real thing
You'll
as
be
stagnant.
lukewarm. You'll be backsliding.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah.
be backsliding or growing. There's no such thing as really stagnant.
Yeah.
You can be very slowly growing or very slowly, you can't slowly backslide. Eventually it goes out of control.
Yeah, you kind of hit a point where you just go.
Yeah. But yeah, you gotta make sure that you're constantly in the Word. How do we spiritually grow? Quick recap: read your Bible.
Pray.
Yeah. If you go onto a reading plan, do it with us. Send in a message. If you want to do a reading plan with us, at least one of us three, when there's 3 of us, can do it with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Encouragement.
Nah, but yeah.
I got time for another reading plan.
Um,
I think I got it.
I don't know what I was gonna say, but it is cool when you read the Bible and then you read the cross references. And even if you don't, I forgot how I used to read my Bible, but I would go through chronologically, and then sometimes I would end up in a different passage. Oh, just kind of reading at church, reading randomly. I don't know, but when you read in 2 parts of the Bible, you'll end up finding things that line up real nicely, even in the most random parts of the Bible, and it's like, oh, I didn't even know that verse existed, and it's really cool.
Yeah. Well, I have a hard time finding out what these cross references, sometimes what they actually reference.
So yeah, a
And
lot
then
of
it's
the time,
something
yeah.
I struggle with. But in the smaller passages, not so much the Gospels. You can still see it in the Gospels, especially when Jesus is speaking. But in the smaller passages, you can see how intertwined it all is. And a lot of the chapters are planned out really good, where you can see it in that. And you can just see how it all correlates with one another. If you look at 1 Peter for an example, the chapter will talk about a topic overall, and they'll do a really good job in staying in this one topic and hitting different points and intertwining all of the different points together to make the topic. And they typically have a topic statement somewhere in there. It's really cool how it's all structured, and that's what I like to dive into. And then when I'm reading my Bible, sometimes I remember a different verse and head over there.
Yeah. So it's cool. But anyways, speaking of the Gospels, we're in John chapter 5, verse 24. And our goal is to make it to 30
That's a
or
good,
farther.
yeah.
But
I don't know about far.
time will tell.
On
We'll
verses.
see.
You want to read or you want me to?
I can do it. Most assuredly, I say to you, he who hears my word and believes in him who sent me has everlasting life, and shall not come into judgment, but has passed from death to life. And quick backstory, he just healed a lame man at the pool of Bethesda, and then the Pharisees got mad about it and wanted to kill him for working on the Sabbath, and then he basically, or he referenced God as his father, which also made the Jews mad because he was making himself equal with God, and now he's still talking to these Pharisees. Most assuredly I say to you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who hear will live. For as the Father has life in himself, so he granted the Son to have life in himself, and has given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man. So there's a lot in those 3 verses.
Well, I think you did 4. I mean, the first one,
Yeah.
most assuredly. That's a promise right there. He who hears my word and believes in him who sent me has everlasting life. So that just shows, Jesus once again doesn't. We talked about in the last episode how Jesus doesn't get mentioned about being baptized. This is another one where there's no baptism Jesus is mentioning. It's just believing.
Yeah.
Which is pretty lit. And shall not come into judgment, but has passed from death onto life.
Here's another thing. Belief, right? What does it mean to believe something? And, most people want to live, right? They don't want to die.
Most, yes.
Yeah. So say you see a bus coming at you and it's going to hit you.
Yeah.
Right? If you really believed it was going to hit you, you would get out of the way.
Yep.
Right?
Oh,
You would, if you believed it, you would live like it.
Yeah.
And so that's why
to
just believe and be like, oh yeah, Jesus died for my sins, and I'm going to go out partying and clubbing Saturday night, and I'm going to go to church hungover. Like, if you really believed it, you would live like it.
Mm-hmm.
You would
see the fruit that comes from the belief.
Yeah.
And that's when you take into that perspective and you go and read James 2:17 through 23, I think. No, not 17, it's even earlier.
14.
14.
Yeah.
14 through 23, it talks about how faith without works is dead. It kind of just shows that you don't actually, the dead faith is you're not actually believing in it or taking the time to seriously think about what your belief means to you.
Yeah. Yep. And then we get this reference to the resurrection, but not of Jesus, of like all the Christians, right?
All the saints.
Most assuredly I say to you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who hear will live. And that's, I believe, pointing to the resurrection after the tribulation, right? When God raises all, or it might even be, no, it's the rapture. Yeah, because they rise first, Paul says. And so he raises the dead. And lots of people say, like, well, how is he going to do that? Because the Romans would burn their ashes and then throw them in the river, and then all the molecules are spread all over. Like, how is God going to do that? And it's just such a small idea of God. Like,
it's like God didn't create us.
Yeah, you think he can't do it? So, or the Pharisees, when they were saying, if a woman married a man and then got remarried 7 times, and they were all Christian, and the man was just dying premature death, which actually, I don't know why the Pharisees asked that, because it sounds kind of sus on the lady's part.
It
like,
does.
is she
it
just
like
killing
the brothers?
But anyways, they're all Christian or Jewish, because the Pharisees were asked this question. And they go to heaven. Whose wife is she? Pastor Chuck did the example once of, like, if this molecule was a part of a person and then he got buried, and this molecule was a nutrient to the grass, and then a cow ate it, like, whose molecule would it be at the end of time? And it's like, it's just questions meant to, like, stump God, as if he's going to get confused. Like, never thought of that.
Can God microwave a Hot Pocket too hot for him to eat?
Yeah. Can he lift a rock that's too hard for him? Or make a rock that's too heavy?
For him to lift.
Yeah.
When the answer to that, it's important that we know this answer, so might as well cover it. The answer to that is that it's outside of his nature, and he wouldn't do anything against his nature.
Yeah. There is things that God can't do.
Yeah. Anything against his nature.
Like, he can't go,
He can't sin because sin is just the opposite of him.
Yeah.
So it's impossible for God to sin.
Yeah. I mean, yes, God decided what sin was. But at the same time, it's not like he just chose these random things.
No, it's just it's him.
Because Satan himself was the epitome of sin in going against God. And that's the definition of sin.
Yeah. So when someone asks you a question like that, you can just say it's outside of his nature to do it. There are impossible things for God to do. Like sin. Sin is the example.
And not because he's not capable
It's
per
just
se, but he
not what he
wouldn't
would
do it. Yeah.
Could he? Somehow I'm sure he could make a way to. Yeah, he made everything. But
We'll say like Jesus
would
getting
he?
tempted by Satan.
Yeah.
He could have said yes.
Yeah, Jesus could have said
Like he was physically capable of it, but
it was a
he
real temptation.
would never do that.
I don't even know where that came from.
Me neither. But also,
maybe someone needed to hear it.
I'm gonna keep going on this though.
Ooh, okay.
Is with the temptation, like it really wasn't a temptation though.
It wasn't what we have as a temptation.
Like
yeah,
Satan or anyone, like what do you think you're gonna offer God? Like God's gonna
that's
be
the-
overcome by his desire for what?
the thing is,
He
Jesus didn't
owns all
have-
of it.
He got tempted directly by Satan, which is something that we will never.
Yeah,
the majority
most
of,
of
people
us,
Never
yeah.
experience. Job had it pretty rough, but
Yeah.
like, I'm pretty
Personally
confident
targeted.
that I will never be tempted. The odds of me getting tempted by Satan is pretty low, even just a demon, because it's all James. 1:8. Let me just turn and read it.
But yeah, I think demons do a lot of the tempting. A lot of people say it's our own sin nature. It's true. I agree with that. But when you're like scrolling on your phone and see an image that causes you to lust, like yes, it's in your nature and you started to lust, but also like some principality or power or demon like
Yeah.
put that image in the way to just
There's also influence for them
Yeah.
to do it.
yeah.
But, James 1:14 says, "But each one is tempted when he is drawn away by his own desires and enticed." And how do we get these desires? Yeah, we have a sin nature. But I don't have actually, we'll not use me, we'll use a real person. Someone I don't even have a name, but someone who killed someone. Maybe they've killed 5 people. They didn't have a dying desire to kill someone until after they did it the first time, typically. After
Yeah.
you kill the first person, then it becomes a desire. So our sin nature isn't exactly how everyone looks at it. Yeah, we'll all have temptation, but we get stronger temptation after we fall into the sin before.
And I'm open to share on this. And our Pastor Al in the Spanish ministry yesterday was touching on this too. But like,
Cocaine?
what?
Nah, he hasn't.
No. I don't. Like the first time I ever looked at porn, like I wanted to puke. It was gross, nasty, right? And then like my flesh like went back for more, and then I got addicted, and then took years to get out of that. So, it's the sin nature that's in us, and then like Galatians 5:16 says that if you walk in the Spirit, you won't indulge in those lusts of the flesh, and not necessarily just sexual, but anything, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a war happening literally within us between what the flesh wants and what God wants, and in the end, it's our choice.
Yeah, another thing is that, we are not, we see the physical, but that doesn't mean there's more to the physical realm than there is the spiritual. We don't see it, but we can feel it, and we don't realize how much is really spiritual warfare and how much,
Yeah.
is the flesh and our sin nature versus how we were made in God's image.
Yeah. Yep.
Very cool to think
But anyways, so the resurrection.
about. Yeah, verse 25.
For
Now we're on 26.
no, yeah, 26. For as the Father has life in himself, so he has granted the Son to have life in himself, and has given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man. Do not marvel at this, For the hour is coming in which all who are in the graves will hear his voice and come forth, those who have done good to the resurrection of life, and those who have done evil to the resurrection of condemnation. And I don't want to go back and read it because we already went in depth on it, but simply looking back to John 3, how, sinners are condemned already because they didn't believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
It was their choice. They didn't like the light. They loved darkness more than light because their deeds were evil, right? They didn't want to be exposed. They didn't want people to see all the stuff they're doing, even look, like we were talking about the Epstein stuff, like, just look at all the people on the list that are, like, fighting their names being released on it because...
they know it's wrong.
Yeah.
I had something on that. Oh, yeah, no. And then when God punishes us, we can see throughout the scripture, I don't have any verses off the top of my head, but Jesus isn't happy to do this. No. We don't accept him. He has no other option.
He doesn't take joy in the destruction of the wicked or pleasure.
I mean, he's given us an entire lifetime. Some lifetimes are less than others, but we still have the entire lifetime to make this decision. And if we don't choose him, how can we even be in heaven around him if we don't want him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so hell is just separation from God.
Yeah, but it is hot.
Well, yeah, but like
and painful.
If you're saying you don't want anything to do with God, he just gives you what you want.
Oh yeah. Yeah, at the end it's just what you want.
And it turns out that hell happens to also be hot and burning with brimstone and fire. So
I realized this when our head pastor's going through Revelations currently, and he was talking about the creepy bugs, the locusts that are going to bite people.
Yeah.
That they come out of the bottomless pit. They're down there. Like, you know what other type of torturistic creatures are down there just to torment you for all of eternity? You know, it's pretty scary. What's the verse where it has all these locusts? Just for a reference.
It's Revelation 9.
Revelation, go.
And it also speaks of how...
scared, go read that. If you're not saved and want to be scared, you're starting to believe.
These people will seek death and won't be able to find it.
Yeah.
Like, they'll shoot themselves in the head so they don't have to feel the pain that these bugs are giving them, and they're not going to die. Yeah.
And then if you read later on, it says that the believers won't be bit by these at all.
Yeah.
And that's just a amazing testimony. It's kind of weird to say a testimony about a future thing that hasn't happened, but it's an amazing testimony of God's
faith. But it's
faith,
true.
Yeah, and his loving kindness and his justice, because the believers aren't condemned like everyone else.
Yep. And those who have done evil to the resurrection of condemnation. I can of myself do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is righteous, because I do not seek my own will, but the will of the Father who sent me.
And that's the same for us. We should be more like, we want to act like Jesus did on this earth. When we are supposed to judge people, in a sense, not like to shoot them down, but if you're an employer and you have 2 employees, you judge them to decide which one will be a better fit for the company. You're not judging them based off of what you want. You're judging them based off what the company wants. It's kind of the same
you should
here.
Be. Yeah.
You're not judging someone in life. You're not going to go down the street and you shouldn't be reading or judging a book by its cover most of the time. You shouldn't do that because that's not what God does. God sees the inside, and we should wait till we can see their fruit before we make a judgment on them. But you don't want to employ someone who is very heretical to be like a pastor.
Yeah. Yep. So, we shall return on verse 31 next time. And then, if we finish a chapter or whatever, we'll get to feeding the 5,000 by the end of next week. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Lord willing. But anyways, just quick mention, because we always talk about it. Football season ended.
Well, it's playoffs now. Cardinals are out.
What draft pick you guys get?
4.
We got 5.
Ah.
We're better.
Wow. Not anymore.
Something to brag about.
You want to be worse now.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, one player is not going to solve our problems. We've had enough horrible drafts We just need a coach.
Next year's greatness. See, we got our coach
Yeah. Who?
and our GM. I don't remember.
Oh, we
his name.
hired him last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully things go well for you. Hopefully you make the playoffs. I can wish you well because you're in a different conference.
Mm-hmm.
But
We're going for 10 wins next year.
you know, I think everyone is. But
Yeah, but we.
yeah,
We got to go against Purdy. I mean, that's hard.
that is hard.
Twice.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Anyways, do you want to make a sound?
Yeah, I'll make a sound.
There you
Sorry,
go.
guys, for not making. The last episode sound was this. What should this episode sound be?
Something new and creative. You always do that. Same one. Describe. What was that?
New and creative.
Goodbye, people.
Bye.